when you stitch a front and a back together, which is the part you're going to stitch to each other? It's going to be the
This one.
shoulder.
Shoulder, yeah.
Okay, which means the front and the back are going to become like this.
Yeah.
Correct?
Hmm.
So this is how. So this is the whole neckline.
Yeah.
This is the shape of the neckline.
Yeah.
So which means if you get this shape, this can become your neck edge, and anything over here will become your collar edge.
Collar edge.
Okay, so now there are a few things about collar in addition to the fact that this is the neck. So when you are making a flat collar, an absolutely flat collar, it's still, you still will not keep it exactly like this. You will overlap it a little bit. Okay, so just about, so this is half scalar. So 2 centimeter you will overlap it over here.
In full scale?
Yeah.
Okay.
And whatever you get the shape over here now, this becomes your shape for the neck edge. So how we are going to do? We're going to trace the center back, then trace the neck edge till the back, mark a point here, because this point tells us where the joint is going to be of the shoulder. Then you continue the marking of the front, and then you mark the front. Okay. And how much have we overlapped? We have done an overlap over here. This is just for a reference. Okay, once this is done, this reference will tell you where the shoulder is going to be, because sometimes you will need that information in order to decide the shape of your collar. Because whatever is visible here is going to be the front, whatever is visible here is going to be the back. Okay, so this is a standard thing. Now, based on what look you want of a collar.
Can you explain this part again?
Rich,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes.
So the part is going to be stitched, the triangle that we just made, is it going to be
No,
stitched?
No. Right now, this is just hold. We are just developing the collar pattern. Okay. We're just developing it. We are in the. This is just a working pattern. This is not. Nothing is done right now. I'm just showing you. Okay. So this is a neckline, and if you have a collar, okay. So if this is the collar, it's a Peter Pan collar. This is what is a Peter Pan collar. And in this case, so now you have to analyze the design details of this collar and then do this. So this is the center front.
Yeah.
Okay. So look at the center front and see that this curve is a little away from the center front. So now similar reference is here. This is your center front.
Yeah.
So which means
So
your
we'll shift it.
so first thing you can check is how much is this width. So what is the width of the collar? Okay. So the width of the collar you can take, like you can actually check on the body how wide you want it. Like maybe you will want
3-4
8
centimeters.
centimeter, 7 centimeter, right? So let's say we take a 7 centimeter.
So
collar.
we're taking from here, not as this.
I'm just seeing.
Okay.
So you can actually not draw but take a style tape and you can mark the collar. That's what style tapes are used for. Mark how you want the collar. So you can decide how you want the collar. Okay, and then you can take your measuring tape and say, okay, does it look nice? All right, so this is 6.5. So do I want 6.5 or do I want 7? 6.5. So 6.5. Whatever you want, you can check on the dress form and accordingly you can mark. So let's say I've taken a 7 centimeter. So this would be the width of the collar. So according to 7, since I'm working on half scale, I will mark 3.5. So this is the width. And there's a certain distance which I have kept away from the center front. So this is my guideline. You can check this distance also. How much away you have gone on the dress form. So you can check that distance also.
Okay.
And then the rest of it is kind of following the neck edge. So let's try to make the rest of it parallel to the neck edge.
Yeah.
So which means that smaller scale is there. So we continue this 3.5 centimeter here and we mark all around. Now maybe your collar is wider at the back or maybe it is the same. So whatever it may be, you can continue accordingly. So I've just kept it parallel to the neck and I've got these dots. Then I just have to join these dots. This thing, I want a curve. So now I can curve this,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
If by chance this point is not coming blended, please blend it.
Okay.
So now what is the corresponding back for this? Every collar will have a back also, which will not be the same as the front. Now the one that I have drawn, you have to first figure out what is the back. So suppose you want a back which is like this, continuous. You want a continuous back. What does that mean? Where is the center back? This is the center back.
So there will be no joint stitch.
Right. So which means this is going to be, if there is no joint which is stitched,
Yeah.
then how do you cut it? Yes, perfect. So you are going to keep it on fold, right? Which means this center back is on fold, which means over here you will make a grain line like this and right over here on fold.
Yeah.
And when you're actually making a collar, you are going to
This collar is the most easiest one than the others.
it is easy. Once you understand how we go about it, it's easy. So I have to be exactly perfect in folding the line. Because if the angle changes, the whole collar will change, right? Okay. Now I will place it on the other side. You can use French curve or whatever curve you want for getting all the required curves.
Yeah.
So this is the shape of the collar. Now if I'm going to cut it over here and cut it out over here, and put it on the dress form, I'm going to get the required Peter Pan collar.
Shouldn't we leave any kind of seam allowance for this?
Yeah. So collars, what we do now, we make a pattern for the collar without seam allowance, and we make a separate one with seam allowance. Because when we put fusing, so when we do a collar, usually we need it to be stiff. So to make it stiff, we have to apply fusing. So this is the shape in which you'll cut the fusing without seam allowance. And then you'll iron the fusing onto the fabric. And then you will add seam allowance. So because of that, when you stitch, first of all, you know exactly where to stitch because there is a fusing. Secondly, when you turn, it's easy to turn because fusing is inside, and it gives a better shape. It doesn't give bulk to the seam allowance. The seam allowance does not have fusing, so it is not making it bulky. So that's why when we cut the collar, we are cutting it only for the part which is not having seam allowance. So I'll just put it on the half scale dress form and show it to you. So okay, now you will see a little difference. That's because the neckline of the shirt will also be a color. Okay. Now, what has this overlap done? Overlap, because of the overlap, the collar raises up a little. Because we don't want it to be. It's not like an applique on the garment. It has to look like a separate piece. It has to have a little bit of a rise. So for that slight amount of rise, but still flat collar, we have overlapped that 2 centimeter. Okay, so I want you to attempt it, and maybe you can try a different shape here or a different shape on the neck, but exactly the same thing on the neck edge. Okay, so all of you do it, and then we'll go ahead and see. Mom, you have to make a full scale one. Yeah, full scale. Everybody has to work on full scale. Collars are very small. It won't be very difficult. And you have to use your shirt pattern.
Yes, since we have half scale dress forms with us, do we have to work with half scale or